Hi guys, welcome back. Hope everybody got a little break and ready for a little bit more about neurotoxicity and those agents in our environment that are killing our children and destroying our health and health of our children. So let's talk more. So we talked about the aluminum and how aluminum is everywhere in our diet, and young mothers, not knowingly, like me, are exposed to aluminum on an everyday basis. I used to go tanning, for example, and a lot of those lotions have a lot of aluminum in them. So, and then, of course, it's being transmitted to our children through breast milk, through, the placenta, during pregnancy. And then also aluminum is added into the vaccines as an adjuvant to elicit the immune response to make the vaccine work. Aluminum is added into the vaccines. And then the immature babies' bodies are unable to excrete all this extra aluminum. I'm sorry, I forgot the formula. Formula is a big one too. So vaccines and the infant formula have a lot of aluminum in them. And the infants are unable to excrete the aluminum, and it crosses blood-brain barrier, and it gets implanted in the brain, and then causes neurological damage. And that's why, according to the CDC, if you look at the statistics of the autism numbers rising every single year, and right now I believe it's, according to, I think 2023, according to the CDC, it's 1 in every 33 children have autism, diagnosis of autism. And the numbers are rising. The numbers of patients diagnosed with Alzheimer's are rising. The number of patients with Parkinson's disease are rising. Other neurological and neuromuscular diseases numbers are rising. Reproductive health is affected. So, all kinds of problems, right? So we need to raise awareness. First of all, we need to start, looking at our own diet, our own life, and, what we're doing and what can we do to help ourselves, help our children, help our future children. I'm not going to have any more children. No more future children for me. But for those of you who want to have more children, so, and I'm talking to young mothers that are afraid to have children because they're young and they had a kid with autism, and now they're afraid to have a kid. So honestly, with all of this that's going on, I would say those Amish that have their own farm, and they have their own vegetables and fruits, and they have their own cattle, and they have their own chickens, and they can, live away from all of this crazy environmental toxins that we're exposed to on a daily basis. Those are the luckiest people, and they probably have the most healthiest children. So I wish everybody could have a farm, but unfortunately, that's not the case for most of us. But anyway, okay, so let's talk about glyphosate. Okay, I never knew about Roundup because I don't have a farm, I don't have a yard, I don't even have a yard. I live in California, and it's very tight over here, like neighbors on top of everybody. Everybody's on your head, basically. So, but I didn't even know about Roundup. I didn't know about glyphosate, and until Dr. Kobinia told me about this, I had no idea about any of this. But anyway, before we proceed, can I please ask you to put a like, subscribe, and share both of these videos so that they will help other parents, that will help parents with autistic children, that will help just regular people to prevent Alzheimer's disease in the future, and all kinds of other illnesses, neurological illnesses that develop with age, and help those young parents that are considering having children in the future. So YouTube works that way, where you like it, share it, and comment. You suggest this video to other viewers, so that more people will see this video, and we can raise awareness, okay? Because these toxins really are killing our children. All right, so let's talk about this book. So this is the first book Dr. Kobinia recommended to me. Oh, in case somebody just turned in and you don't know who I am and all that, my son Slava has autism. He's 6 years old, and we did stem cell transplant in Vienna, Austria in February of 2024. Right now is August. So, and we've had a lot of progress. Slava had a lot of progress. So see video number 1 for update on Slava's progress. But anyway, so Dr. Kobinia is a cardiovascular surgeon who does stem cell transplant for the last 12, 13 years in Vienna, Austria. And he's the one who did our transplant. And he's an amazing doctor and very educated, and wrote a lot of articles. And anyway, so he suggested this book to me. Like I said, before we even went to Vienna, when I had a Zoom meeting with him, he said, have you heard about this book, Toxic Legacy, how the weed killer glyphosate is destroying our health and the environment? And it was written by Stephanie Seneff, PhD. So I said no. And so as soon as he told me about it, I ordered it on Amazon, as well as I ordered this book on Amazon. Imagine You're an Aluminum Atom by Dr. Christopher Exley. Okay, anyway, Stephanie Seneff was a senior research scientist at MIT Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. Since 2010, Dr. Seneff's research has been focused on effects of drugs, toxic chemicals, and diet on human health and disease. And she has written and spoken extensively, articulating her view on these subjects. She has authored over 3,000 peer-reviewed journal papers and topics relating human diseases to nutritional deficiencies and toxic exposures. And she has focused specifically on the herbicide glyphosate and the mineral sulfur. All right, so let's see. Glyphosate is an active ingredient in Roundup, the most commonly used weed killer in the world. More than 300 million pounds of glyphosate-based herbicide are sprayed on farms, food, lawns, and parks every year. We have been told that glyphosate is safe for humans, animals, and the environment, but emerging scientific research on glyphosate's deadly disruption of the gut microbiome, not to mention several landmark legal cases, its crippling effects on protein synthesis, and its impact on the body's ability to use and transport sulfur tells a very different story. So I'm going to read you some experts' excerpts. That's another hard word to say. From this book. So I'm going to read a little bit from the introductory chapter. So it'll be easier if I just read. You can grasp an idea of what this book is all about, and then you go and you buy this book and you buy the other book, and you read it and you do your own research. Like I told you, you do your own research, and make your own conclusions and draw your own conclusions and make your own decisions regarding your health and your kids' health. And let's do something about this nonsense. All right, so I'm going to read to you a little bit what I highlighted here. So Monsanto is a Missouri-based company that was Roundup's original manufacturer, was acquired by the Germany-based company Bayer in 2018 as a part of its crop science division. Monsanto has touted glyphosate, promoted, right? Glyphosate is remarkably safe because its main mechanism of toxicity affects a metabolic pathway in plant cells that human cells don't possess. However, she continues to say, human cells might not possess the shikimate pathway, but like the plants, but almost all of our gut microbes do. So then she talks about the shikimate pathway and how it works with metabolism and with synthesis of 3 very important amino acids that make up body's proteins. So precisely because human cells do not possess the shikimate pathway, we rely on our gut microbiota along with diet to provide these essential amino acids for us. Perhaps even more significantly, gut microbes play an essential role in many aspects of human health. When glyphosate harms these microbes, they not only lose their ability to make these essential amino acids for the host, for us, but they also become impaired in their ability to help us in all the other ways they normally support our health. Beneficial microbes are more sensitive to glyphosate, and this causes pathogens to thrive. Alterations in the disruption of microbes can cause immune dysregulation and autoimmune disease. It's worth remembering that Roundup hit the market and was declared safe before much of this groundbreaking research on the human microbiome was ever conducted. So that's important. Okay, and then she's saying glyphosate is a chelator, which is a small molecule that binds tightly to metal ions. And that's kind of tightly goes with this book where it talks about aluminum, and we'll get to that in a little bit here, how it binds to the aluminum and holds it there in the brain and does not let go. So, in plant physiology, glyphosate's chelation disrupts a plant's uptake of essential minerals from the soil, including zinc, copper, manganese, magnesium, cobalt, and iron. Studies have shown that plants exposed to glyphosate take up much smaller amounts of these critical minerals into their tissues. When we eat foods derived from these nutrient-deficient plants, we become nutrient-deficient as well. So glyphosate also causes exposed plants. I'm just reading excerpts from the book, okay? So just to give you an idea what's going on here and what this book is all about, and what this glyphosate is all about, what this Roundup is all about, and how we need to stay away from it. So glyphosate also causes exposed plants to be more vulnerable to fungal diseases. And fungal diseases can lead to contamination of our foods with mycotoxins produced by the pathogenic fungi. All right. Okay, here. Over the past few decades, an alarming rise in many chronic diseases across the globe has occurred, especially in countries that adopt a Western-style diet based on industrialized agriculture, like United States. Many of these diseases have an autoimmune component. They include Alzheimer's disease, autism, celiac disease, diabetes, encephalitis, inflammatory bowel disease, and obesity. While we can't reduce all environmental and health problems on one insidious thing, I believe there's a common denominator. That common denominator is glyphosate. This book brings together over 10 years of research that clearly shows how glyphosate is eroding both human and planetary health, resulting in a toxic legacy we're leaving future generations to contend with. So, and then in recent years, glyphosate has gotten considerably more attention because of lawsuits that have linked to its cancer. And like I mentioned in my previous lecture or previous video, despite the ongoing legislation I know that's going on in different states against the Roundup manufacturer, we still see this toxic product sitting in our shelves of our most popular stores, like Costco. Like I told you, I went to the store a couple weeks ago and I saw it sitting on the shelf and I could not believe my eyes, because it's been linked to cancer. Now they're linking it to autism and Alzheimer's and all kinds of other problems, and they're still selling it. They're still spraying everything around with it. And then even though they're saying it's organic, when we buy something organic, how do we know it hadn't been sprayed with the Roundup? So I don't know what to eat anymore, honestly. It's crazy. All right, let's jump. This was introduction, okay? Let's jump to the chapter that's called Neurological Disorders. And I'll read you a little bit from there. So she starts with a story. In 2018, a 66-year-old man attempted to commit suicide by drinking Roundup. In the hospital, he was treated for glyphosate toxicity. After 5 months, this poor man was still suffering from amnesia, which was eventually diagnosed as permanent. His hippocampus, a curved part of the brain that is responsible for forming and storing memories and associated with learning and emotions, had shrunk by 23%. To put this in perspective, a typical rate of shrinkage for Alzheimer's is 3.5% a year, and he's shrunk by 23% in 5 months, okay, after drinking this crap. In 2017, dementia was the primary cause of 261,914 deaths, up from 84,000 in year 2000. These CDC figures based on the death certificates are likely an underestimate, because people live with dementia for many years before something more specific kills them. right? We know this, you know, pretty much failure to thrive, they don't eat, and that's why they die. Some argue that we humans are just living longer. So it makes sense that our brains are giving out. But even adjusting for age, our dementia rates have more than doubled since year 2000. As we discussed in Chapter 4, Alzheimer's disease is the dominant subtype of dementia. It's characterized by problems with memory and executive function. A person suffering from late-stage Alzheimer's can forget such things as where they are, how to use a knife and a fork, and how to go to the toilet alone. They often need constant care. Scientists have started to recognize that Alzheimer's and autism have much in common. The diagnosis of autism encompasses a spectrum of disorders, from mild brain differences that some celebrate as neurodiversity to severe as devastating neurological damage. A complex disorder, autism, is characterized by impairments in social interactions, a restricted repertoire of interests, stereotyped repetitive activities, and decreased cognitive ability. Between a quarter and a half of children with autism are nonverbal, like Slava, until we did the stem cell transplant, and he's making progress now, like I told you in a previous video. Many will never have independent lives. The average life expectancy of a person with autism is only 36 years old. That's terrible. Okay. So then she continues to talk about this, another scientist, Cynthia Nevison, PhD, a Stanford-trained atmospheric scientist who works at the University of Colorado Boulder, examined whether the rise of autism was due to more prevalence or more diagnosis. Because you know, guys, there's a word out on the street saying, oh, well, they're just diagnosing it more thoroughly. They didn't diagnose it before, and that's why we have a rise. But it's not really true. So she was arguing that, was it due to more prevalence or more diagnosis? She found that the increase in autism since 1980s is not just the result of better diagnosis. Instead, 75 to 80% of the increase is real. The scientific analysis shows definitively that autism rates are rising. We can no longer claim that doctors are simply diagnosing it more. Nevison identified only 3 toxic exposures that correlated strongly with autism: aluminum, polybrominated diphenyl ethers, PBDEs, which are compounds used as flame retardants, and glyphosate. These are likely culprits. Aluminum is neurotoxic. When injected into the body as an adjuvant in a vaccine, it is engulfed by macrophages that transport it to stress tissues, including the brain. So this is continuation from the previous book, okay? Kind of like they link together, they go hand in hand. So as for PBDEs, they disrupt the endocrine system. The association between exposure to PBDEs and impaired neurodevelopment has been studied extensively. And then there's glyphosate. There's no question that glyphosate is contributing to the rise in autism, as we'll explore more in this chapter. Okay, and then she talks about toxic combinations. The fact that exposures to other toxic chemicals may be contributing to brain disorders shouldn't diminish concern about glyphosate. These substances are working synergistically to harm the brain in even greater ways than they would independently. Aluminum is a good example. It binds to glyphosate. So 2 glyphosate molecules wrap around an aluminum ion to hide its +3 positive charge, making it easier for aluminum to cross barriers. And we're talking about the blood-brain barrier that we mentioned earlier. As a great deal of recent research implicates aluminum as a causal factor of brain inflammation, characteristic of autism. Aluminum has also been implicated in Alzheimer's disease and dementia. How crazy is that? So, and then she mentioned Dr. Christopher Exley, who wrote this book. So Dr. Christopher X is a professor of bioinorganic chemistry at Keele University, England, has also found high levels of aluminum in the postmortem brains of children with autism. And we just talked about aluminum. So they go hand in hand. The glyphosate binds to aluminum. Makes sense? And so the two toxins, and that's what's killing our children. That's what's doing this to our children. So continue reading here. But it's also possible that glyphosate facilitates aluminum transport across the. I'm just reading, just a little, one sentence on another page. It's also possible that glyphosate facilitates aluminum transport across the blood-brain barrier. Okay, and then the highest odds ratio was found for children exposed to glyphosate during the first year of life. And then how glyphosate harms the brain. It says, how could glyphosate, glyphosate disrupting the brain development by causing disruption of crucial enzymes. And then she talks about that in this little part of this chapter. And then I wanted to read to you just the very end of this. It's not taking that long, as long as I thought it was going to take. So let's read this, and then I'm going to stop reading, and then you guys can read. You can buy this book and you can read it yourself. So glyphosate's synergistic role in widespread neurological dysfunction. So this is important. Let's read this together. Autism is not due to glyphosate exposure alone. That is clear. Autism, even the severe autism described by Leo Kanner in 1943, existed prior to the development of glyphosate. But it's equally clear that autism prevalence is rising, and dramatically so, as more toxic environmental exposures leach into our daily lives. Before the movie Rain Man came out in 1988, few people even knew what autism was. Oh, sorry, my hair's a mess. Few people even knew what autism was. Today, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who doesn't have a friend or family member with severe autism. And that's true, right? Everywhere you go, everybody has somebody with autism. It's crazy. It is clear that environmental stressors are causing high rates of brain dysfunction, especially in children exposed during periods of rapid brain development and in older adults who have had chronic exposure over time. Some of these environmental exposures are likely causing evolutionary pressure, resulting in large numbers of mutations with unpredictable results. While it's possible that some of these mutations could be beneficial, many of them result in devastating dysfunction. Numerous environmental factors have been reliably tied to increased brain disorders. One of the most insidious toxic exposures, affecting virtually everything we humans depend upon for maintenance of biological homeostasis, food we eat, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the microbes that work so hard for us, the minerals we require, and even the critical proteins programmed by our DNA, is glyphosate. Back to the beginning of the sentence. One of the most insidious toxic exposures is glyphosate. It's possible that our increasingly toxic world, neurological dysfunction, such as autism, in our increasingly toxic world, neurological dysfunction, such as autism, might increase even in the absence of glyphosate. But there is no question that there are many ways in which glyphosate disrupts biological systems, especially the myriad ways it's affecting brain development, are contributing to the rapid accumulation of synergistic toxicities that we're witnessing. And that should scare all of us. And that scares me. I don't know how about you, but after reading just a little bit, just like seriously a couple chapters in one book and a couple chapters in another book, I am just in shock. First of all, I'm going to finish reading both books. And then we need to do something about it, okay? So we identified problems, right, with our kids. As we know, autism is caused by inflammation in the brain, in the gut and in the brain, right? So to decrease inflammation, like I went over in the first video, we need to give them anti-inflammatory and antioxidants. So the ones that Dr. Kobinia has recommended again is astaxanthin. He's recommending boswellia, and he's recommending lecithin. Okay. There are other stuff. There's all kinds of other, scientific research. There's all kinds of doctors, but there's some really good ones. I forgot his name. I'll tell you later. Dr. Berg. He is great. He has a really great lecture on autism and on all the supplements and vitamins that they're lacking and what they have to give them. And I wish he would come up with some kind of formula where he can make this drink where we can just give them and they can just drink it, and then they got everything they need. I even commented, but he didn't respond. I know he's busy. I don't know if you follow him, but he's really great. But anyway, so those three anti-inflammatory and antioxidant agents, and also, okay, and then we have a solution, well, you know, kind of solution, but a way to pull this aluminum off the brain. And that's what Dr. Kobinia also recommended, and that's what we started doing. And I'll read to you a little bit. So, why only silicon-rich mineral waters and not silicon or silica supplements will protect you from aluminum? Okay, so silicic acid is the form of silicon, which is found in silicon-rich mineral waters, and it's the only form of silicon in the diet which can pass rapidly from the gut to the bloodstream to help remove aluminum from the body in the urine. Okay, when you drink a silicon-rich mineral water, the silicic acid in the water passes immediately from your gut and into your blood, producing a temporary rapid increase in the silicic acid in your blood. It is this temporary high concentration of silicic acid in the blood which reacts with the aluminum in the blood and helps the aluminum to be removed from the body in the urine. Okay, and this is also from this book, Imagine You're an Aluminum Atom, by Dr. Christopher Axley. So this solution that he come up with, and not only him, other researchers and scientists as well, is the silica water. So silicon-rich mineral water. And so I'm going to tell you, there's also, let me just mention this. There's another book that I found on Amazon. This one. So silica water, the secret of healthy longevity in the aluminum age. And this is by Dr. Dennis Krauser, PhD. Let's read about him. So he's a majored in biochemistry at Harvard College and has a PhD in chemistry from Harvard University. Research on the world's 6 longevity regions, so this book is about this, where people live longer than normal, reveals high levels of dissolved silica in their drinking water. This book describes the research and explains why dissolved silica is a causal factor of healthy longevity, improving the quality of life of the elderly while giving them more time to enjoy life. How silica water prevents and heals the following conditions and terminal diseases: Alzheimer's, atherosclerosis, autism, multiple sclerosis, osteoporosis, Parkinson's, and seizures. So silica is it's magic. And so, but please read this book, because here on page 59 it gives you a little graph and explains about everything about in the chemical component of the silica water, because you can't just buy stuff off the shelf, because I actually did, and it's not the same stuff. So silicon dioxide is not the same thing. So here it says the only biologically available form of silicon is silicic acid, and it gives you the natural monomer pKa 9.6 K, I don't even know what that means, KSP 2 millimoles per liter. So, and there's like a chemical formula for it. So, and I don't know if you guys know what biologically available means. It means the form that your body can absorb, that your organism can use. So the only biologically available form is this, okay? And this is what you have to buy. And with, it says, it looks here that they, okay, let me read this to you. We have investigated and tested every so-called silica supplement which is available to buy, and not one of them can provide a high and immediate level of silicic acid for absorption across the gut into the blood, except for the water. And the best water is Fiji water. Fiji water. Okay, so there's also another water. It's called Volvic water. It's very popular in Europe. I actually brought this bottle because I just went to France not long ago, and I brought it. And my mom was drinking it. I was like, "Give it to me. I'll have to show it on the video." I think you can buy it here on Amazon. I saw it on Amazon, but if you look at the silica content, this has way less. So Fiji water, I know it's expensive, but it has the most content of silica in it. So this is what we've been giving Slava also since we came back from Vienna. This is what Dr. Kobinia recommended. And so he doesn't like to drink water by itself, so just give him like half juice, half water. Also, so guys, anyway, so okay, so this is the solution for aluminum. This looks like, I mean, you can do chelation, but I don't think it's safe, honestly. As a nurse, I think it's very, very unsafe. But I don't know, I didn't do, I mean, not unsafe, but I mean, you have to be like in a pretty much like under the doctor's care, maybe like in ICU, and they have to monitor your blood levels, and you know, it's very, very meticulous, you know, procedure. I guess some of the doctors do that, but I personally, I don't know, I don't find it safe. But slowly, you know, using silica rich water, we can pull this aluminum off the brains of our children. Plus, we can raise awareness of the products that have aluminum in them and stop the consumption of those products. And so one of the ways to do it, and was crazy because when was this? Yesterday, I think I was trying to prepare for this video. Well, I've been trying to prepare for this video for like, I don't know, last 2 or 3 months. But I've been busy, like I told you, and I apologize again. But I'm sitting at the tanning salon where I go, and the girl came in, and she was recommended some lotions, and she's like, well, I don't use all that stuff, and let me see. And so she pulls out her phone, and she starts scanning all the products, and she starts talking to herself, and she's like, oh, aluminum, oh, aluminum. And I was like, oh, wow, she's talking about aluminum. She's looking up aluminum in those products, in the tanning lotions. And so she's using this app. It's called Yuka, Y-U-K-A. Yuka app. You can scan foods, and you can scan beauty products, and it will tell you if it's hazardous, exactly what it has, how many calories like the foods have, if it has any kind of, you know, unwanted substances, toxins. It tells you if it has aluminum in it. So I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, wow, this is just, you know, God sent was for me, you know. And I'm glad I met her, and she told me about this app before I released this video, because I wanted not to only tell you that we have a problem, okay, that the autism rates are rising. I get emotional because it's terrible. I just feel so bad for kids. I feel so bad for us, because it's like it's a hard life to having an autistic kid, you know. So anyway, the autism rates are rising, and we, you know, our hearts are breaking for the children, and we want to help them. And now we identified the problems. Sorry. I'm very sensitive. So now let's find some solutions to these problems. And the solutions are these. So those supplements that I mentioned to you, if you can give them to your children, if you can figure out a way for me to give them to Slava, please tell me in comments. I appreciate it. So, because juice is not enough. I don't know. He tastes them. So, and then we have silica water, Fiji water. It's expensive, but we need to drink it, and we need to drink it so we don't get Alzheimer's, so we can live long, so we can help our children, because how are they going to live without us, right? They need us, because they're going to be a burden of a society, and you know they're not going to be taken care of. So, and then we have this app that we can use to monitor what we consume, to monitor what they consume, and then we need to stop glyphosate. We need to stop Roundup. So if you guys have any way of influencing the legislation, if you have any ways of, I don't know, just whatever you can do, just whatever is in your power to do, to raise first of all, we have to raise awareness. Okay, we have to stop using this product. We have to start eating, you know, stuff that are not sprayed with Roundup. I don't know if you guys seen this movie. I saw this movie Dark Waters not long ago, and it's about a true story based on this lawyer, Rob Billot's case against the DuPont chemical plant in West Virginia. Have you seen it? It's a really awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's amazing. So, and it's about how this DuPont is a real company, and I mean I think they're still in business. They make those Teflon frying pans. And so that they were spilling all these chemicals into the water, and the cattle was dying, the people were dying of cancer in West Virginia left and right. And it took 15 years for this lawyer to finally win against this company and to prove that this company, this chemical spilled in the water, is really causing, this toxicity and the cancer and all these deaths. And so this is the same thing with this Roundup, with the glyphosate. We have to stop Roundup from being produced. We have to stop using this product. And, like Dr. Kobinia, he's like, I don't know what to do. I was like, well, what can you speak and, travel around the world and convince him? He's like, well, he's like, unless I come there to them with a bag of money, they're not going to listen to me. And he's a researcher. He's an experienced physician. He's a scientist. And it's like, how, we're talking about, people with big money, people that don't really care about our children. They don't care about us. They don't care. I guess they care about themselves, but they care about their money. And that's all they care about. And so we need to raise awareness, and we need to do something to stop this product from being sold and from being used. So anyway, so I hope this was helpful, guys. Again, please like, share, and comment. And please spread this video, and I hope this was helpful. And let's take care of our children. Let's take care of ourselves, and let's stop this pandemic of autism. Let's stop these toxins from being spread, from being used. And, let's save our children. Let's save our future generations. Okay? All right. So I'm going to end on this note. And I will talk about the day of the procedure. I know I promised to talk about that as well, how the day went of the stem cell transplant in Vienna. I'll talk about it in the next video. Hopefully it won't take me 2 or 3 months to release it. I'll record it soon, I promise. Okay, I hope this was helpful. And please comment and reach out to me if you have any questions. And thank you for listening. Take care. Till the next time. Bye-bye.